I love his nickname, Madcap. Johnny Tyler, Madcap.
Okay. Real quick before we get in, I propose a trade. I'd like to trade you 2 cars for 2 cars. Are you down?
What cars do you want?
I want those 2 of those Santa Fe 50-foot hopper or those cars for check these out.
Are you talking about the reefers?
Yeah.
Take them.
In return, I want to give you 2 ballast cars for your. You got a little spur track here working some LW stuff.
Yeah, I'll put these here.
Yeah, I got 2 of them for you. I have absolutely no need for these cars, and they're registered. They got
Take
detection.
all 3 of those then.
Oh, okay, all right. Well,
There's-
I want to give you some. I want to give you something in return.
I know, but take all 3 of them. Get them out of my face. You're welcome. I've had those forever.
Did you weather them, or where'd you get them?
Those, I've had those since probably 03. Really? And I think I got those. I had my old F7s. My old, I had a B set of F7 freight scheme. And I was going to do a reefer train, and those were the first 3 for the reefer train. And I never ended up doing a reefer train. So, you're welcome. Those were the first 3 out of the pack.
There we go. Now you can make some cool loads for these loaded ballast. Those also double as
now you could just leave your load on these.
Those also when they're moving like riprap to build riprap on the sides.
Yeah, this is like the ones that they. I mean, I've seen these up off of. Help me out. Hoopla do
all over the place.
Yeah, they make their way.
Are you talking about San Onofre? Yeah, those are the exact cars. Those are the exact cars at San Onofre.
Exactly. One of my favorite trains I ran across was out in Yuma, Arizona. I have footage of this, of the MOW train, the UP MOW train. The yellow one, that has that like rebuilt Jeep 38 leading the charge.
Yeah. And is that the one that cleans up all the ties?
And the dude like sits up on the tower behind it and
cleans up. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, cool stuff. Anyways, take those home. Have fun.
Thank you.
Did you already take them?
They're put them in the box. Yeah.
Attaboy. All right, where are we at? All right, let's do a 1, 2, 3. You call it.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
What's up, everybody? My name is Timmy D, and that is
Engineer Evan.
And you are watching another wonderful episode of Railroads Rock Show here on our YouTube channel. Let's get into this highball. Svedka. I'm telling you, dude, my lady, she's like doing, like we're about to like start partying. She's like, Svedka, and then almost punches Amanda Bynes in the face. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then like Amanda Bynes like, oh no, it's okay. And she just walks past us like, okay, did they notice me? It's like,
wasn't that after she did that movie with, what's his name? Frankie Muniz? That one.
Speaking of Frankie Muniz, I used to go over to Barney's Beanery right off of Santa Monica and La Cienega Boulevard. And that was actually where I met Justin Long.
Oh, nice.
He was just kind of hanging out, and I'm playing Pac-Man. Because I used to go there and just burn quarters at the Pac-Man machine. I'd have nothing to do in between. Like, I was living out of my car, and then I'd go to the gym after, like, working on whatever, And this is when I was living, this is right before so I was living out of my car. This is right before I moved in that place that you stayed. Man.
I can't believe it burned down. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's not there anymore, dude.
Was that in this last fire?
Yeah, this is from this fire. That's from the Canyon fire.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Wow. I was like kind of bummed about it.
I remember, man, with coming up with Jimmy and just being like, the fucking view from that back was so pretty.
Yeah. I used to go out there with a cup of coffee, because when I first moved into that place, I was living in that room that you guys stayed in.
Yeah, which is so fun.
And then I ended up moving when Travis moved out. He's like, well, Tobin, the guy who was in charge of everything at that house, was like, well, if you want to move into Travis's room, I mean, we were just kind of collecting extra money from that room, and I'm like, look, I'll pay an extra $150 a month to keep all my shit down there.
Yeah. And
then so when you guys stayed there, anyways. That was the room that held all my freaking guitars, trains.
Yeah.
I had my refrigerator
Tobin.
down there.
I remember I met Tobin.
Yeah.
He was a writer, wasn't he?
He was a writer, and I actually remember one of my favorite stories of him is he was on a bender, and I come home from work from Universal Studios to Spider-Man, and I go into the house because in order to use the shower or anything, you know, you have to go upstairs,
right?
And this is when I first got that room, so I was still moving stuff up into that room, and I come down in the bottom room, and I was like, Tobin? I'm looking around, and his light's on, but I don't see him. I'm like, Tobin, where you at, buddy? And I just hear, Tim, come over here, Tim. Tim, come over here. Bro is naked in his closet, and he throws money at me, and he's like, Pinks is coming up with booze. He's like, just pay the dude when he comes to the door. Dude was so hammered, he was naked in his own closet, just hoping to get more booze. And I was like, wow. Okay, are you okay? And I went and grabbed a blanket out of the downstairs, and I threw it on top of him. I'm like, just go to bed, bro. And I paid the Pinks dude when he came up, and he ordered like 2 24-packs of Paps, and then a thing of a big, you know, handleless Svedka or vodka, not Svedka, but you know what I mean, big thing. Yeah. And I take it and I put it in his room, and I set it all nicely next to his desk, but I just kind of covered him up with the blanket. And next day I come up there to check on him. He was still sleeping under that same blanket. And I was kind of
dead.
I went up and checked, as a dude does. You're like, yo, are you okay, bro? And I'm kind of petting his back to be like, are you all right? Because otherwise I'm calling the hospital, and we got to detox you.
Right.
So, anyways, that's one of my favorite stories of Tobin. Oh, my God. Good guy, man. Ended up actually moving to South Korea, and teaching English.
What?
There, yeah.
What show was he writing for?
He was working on a couple at the time, and the big one that his big break that he got to do 2 episodes where he did punch-ups for... He was shooting down at Fox. It was that medical show with the dude... Oh my God, I can't even remember now.
You mean House?
House.
Yeah.
He was doing punch-ups for House. He was on the writing team.
No shit.
But he didn't. I know that he might have credits on that. I don't know, so don't quote me. But I know he was doing punch-ups. He was it was a big deal for him. He's like, I might have but I think he kind of spoiled it because he just had a little bit of a drinking problem.
Right.
See, I get donuts lodged, right? I got a little bit of a weight problem.
Right.
All right, so today on the Railroads Rock Show, I hope you enjoyed our nice little talks here. Yeah, I fucking love Tobin. Was a rad dude.
Yeah.
Still is a rad dude. I know where he is. Tobin, if you're out there, rock and roll. We are doing the Silver Zone Pass. Evan, talk a little bit about this shit.
This is the Western Pacific line from Salt Lake City to California, and they're with an emphasis on the Arnold Loop, which is this really cool... it's the only way to gut up the hill. The Silver Zone Pass is what they call it, which on the I-80 just only goes a mile between the 2 tracks, but the trains go way inland to gain all this elevation.
Yeah, it's like an elevation peninsula.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah,
so it's
if you were to model it, you would actually put that in your room as the peninsula.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Caliente Horseshoe followed by the Bealville Horseshoe.
Yeah.
It's just a way of gaining some serious elevation, yeah.
But it's crazy how it comes right back. It leaves next to the 80, it leaves and goes way the heck out and then comes way the heck back in.
Yeah.
And then now you're higher up.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of spots that do that, kind of like when you're driving the 15 out to Vegas. And when you pass Barstow and you get out there and then you see that cement plant.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the UP line just goes way the hell out.
Right. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden when it rejoins you, you've gone about 50 miles, and yet the elevation changes haven't been that much with the rail line, but you've gone up and down and up and down, and then,
Right, yeah.
Anyway, so let's get to it. If you want to follow us, we are at 1040 in, but I'm going to be posting this anyway, so just look in between me and Evan. We're going to watch, so let's go.
Yeah, a little trackage rates action here.
I love it.
I love watching trains like this, man. Just this long, slow, just climb.
Funny thing is that isn't really that long of a train. You got three.
No. Hell no.
What is that? That's probably about 45 cars, 50 cars.
That looks like the Stockton to Denver train.
How many cars do you think that is, though? About 50 cars, right?
I would say between 50 and 60.
Look at that vast landscape, and you're just looking at a KCS, NS, and then, what is that, 700 freaking fake bonnet?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Good God. Love it.
Wow.
And this isn't a 7 Idea Productions, isn't it?
No,
it's just
somebody
Railway
else.
Productions.
Yeah,
All right,
else.
cool. All right, let's keep.
A few miles up the line, we see a westbound nearing the siding at Cliffside. It is looking for all the world like a model railroad in this vast expanse.
Oh, yeah, it
Like
is.
La Mesa.
This area is known as Arnold Loop. Let's take a closer look.
Yeah,
In
see, here you
this
go.
view,
Yeah.
we see the railroad as it exists today.
Yeah.
When the Western Pacific opened in 1909, it went west up the hill towards Silver Zone Pass on roughly the same alignment that we see
It's like they got up
80
the canyon there and
today.
like, oh crap. We
This
gotta,
was
now what?
Now we gotta go
unacceptably
east.
steep, And in 1914, the WP opened the winding bypass called Arnold Loop that lessened the line to a 1% ruling grade.
Is that
and
an
is the
old?
route
Did
we
you see that? Is
today.
that like an old tunnel right there?
I think that was the old right of way.
It's
Okay.
late evening
So
and a westbound is approaching
WP kept
Cliffside to
almost
start
their
our
entire
tour of
railroad
the
at
Loop
1%.
area.
Yeah, there you go. Cliffside. Those old signals. That's cool.
Do you think it was more worth it for them gas-wise
Yes.
to keep that
Oh, yeah.
loop
Oh yeah.
instead of trying to
The
traverse
entirety,
it?
The entirety of Feather River is 1%, if you can believe that.
So cool. Love that old school AC. Is that an AC 44?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
No, that's a 6000. Look at that.
yeah.
It's the
Oh,
old
yeah.
AC 6000. The high air tanks on it. Really cool looking unit.
There's a pair of them. Yep.
To this day, one of my favorite locomotives on the UP from that era. And then you got an AC 4400 right behind it. Mm-hmm. That's a great looking set of. That'd be a really cool locomotive consist to model.
That's a Grey Worm.
What are they hauling? Potash?
Grain.
Ah.
This is like going for like Foster Farms and Livingston.
I was in Nashville and I saw corn on the top of all of the.
Cars, yeah.
And it was, but it was like, holy shit, there's legitimate, like, just corn
Yeah.
on the top of all these cars.
That's awesome.
Like, I was like, oh, I think I have some video footage where I zoomed in to be like, what is that? Look at that, 4400 pushing on the backside. Cool, old school.
You know what's cool is that the Zephyr runs on this line.
No shit.
Yeah, the Zephyr runs on the WP between, I want to say it's Weso and Salt Lake City.
What's that speed then? Like 50 miles an hour, though? You can't be rolling that quick down
I'd
that
say
curve.
No, around the curve, I think it's 25 tops.
But then once you hit those straightaways, obviously,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
picking back up. Okay. I love it. Look at the scenery out there. This landscape. Ugh. So beautiful. Cliffside with switch.
Nice.
West switch. Westbound.
This is some lonely territory out here.
Very. How do you feel about running over territory like this?
I love it.
Really?
I love it, yeah.
What about that?
It's just kind of these wide open spaces, so you're able to just really take in like the scenery. You know, I don't know. I'm
No, I agree. I
I-
completely agree.
I love-
4400 with an AC 600. What the hell?
yeah.
What do you think, UP? You think some of that stuff still exists out there right now? No, it's all gone. All the AC 6000's gone.
The 60s were rebuilt into something.
They were like a 4400 rebuild,
Right.
but I mean, there's a couple of them out near El Centro, Hampson. Hampson. I have a couple pictures that Hampson sent me when he was out there for some sort of San Diego NMRA meet, and they were sitting on the main line or on the idling on the side of the main line. And I got to show you those pictures, or maybe I'll post them. Smash cut to these AC 6000s that were just chilling. And Hampson had no idea. He's like, oh, there was some UP stuff out here. Oh, yeah. And he's like, he sent me the pictures. I'm like, let me see.
Hampson.
And I was like, oh, shit. Because AC 6000s were totes faves. Like,
Really?
above the 90 Max, because I love the 80 Max in Conrail, and I love the 6000s in UP. And I mean, the 90 Max, you always got to be like, oh, horsepower wars.
Right.
I love the 90 Max because of the horsepower wars from UP, but they could have been in any livery. You know what I mean? I just would have been juiced
It's
that,
kind
like,
of it's kind of just sad that UP was the only game that ever ran them. I thought like NS would have given them a try for coal trains or something. You know?
if I truly think that if BN and Santa Fe would have stayed separate, I think that the Powder River would have gotten a couple 6,000s.
Oh, of course.
You know, even though they were more EMD, they were more kind of tethered to the EMD game of like the 70 Max. I still think that they might have gone 6,000. Or maybe even Santa Fe, bro.
Yeah.
If they would have kept pulling coal loads. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But then they merged and voila.
Oh, okay.
What is this?
So it just occurred to me. So right above that is the track going up. So they're right here, and then above that, see that cut in the right there?
That's the old.
No. They come at you, turn around, and then they go up that. So when it says westbound, I'm like, why are they going west up?
And then they do that loop, and they come around. Then that's the cut.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Much like out of Caliente and Bealville.
Yeah.
You hit Tunnel 2 and you just like do a nice big fart loop.
Arnold
what are you guys
loop.
doing? Oopsies. Did a nice little bubble fart.
Arnold.
And now we're turning around, Mr. Arnold. I don't know why I said that. But that's really cool because this is a very not I would say it's to anybody who's a Western modeler, this is kind of a cool thing to be like, oh, that's neat. But anybody else in the United States would be like, okay, why would I go chase this? I mean, this is out in the middle of effing nowhere.
No, it really is. No, it really,
there
really is.
There ain't nothing. Like, they got out here, once again, this is like by helicopter.
Or
you know
some
what I mean?
serious hiking.
Or some serious hiking.
Arnold.
God, that is a picturesque shot right there. Good God.
See, what always, like, I mean, I've never run a big, huge train, but, like, can you imagine just,
there's
like, going around this loop and be like, look, there's the rear of my train, just, like, right there.
Yeah.
And
I mean, look at the bank on that.
Yeah.
Watch this, how it leans into it.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a low track right there. Is that a third?
No.
No, there's two. And that's a fire road to the left. No, that's two.
Tracks? I don't have a side.
It looks like there's two. Maybe that's a set-out track. It looks like there's two tracks right there. Am I wrong?
I think
my brain may be seeing things right now. It almost looked like there was two.
It kind of does look like there's not.
Nah, it's one. It's one and done.
Yeah, see, these are all grain trains destined for San Joaquin Valley.
What Joaquin Valley?
San Joaquin Valley.
Thank you. Finally.
Finally, I remembered, yes. It was a problem last time.
You're trying my patience. Remember that from what's the Disney movie? My kids love it. The Emperor's New Groove.
The Emperor's New Groove. Yeah.
With Buddy. Squeak, squeak. Are you talking to that squirrel? Well, he had a tough day. He ran across a talking llama and a guy that gave him... Wait a second, talking llama? Look at this. That is a hardcore loop, bro. Is that like... Yeah. I mean, I would love to compare the radius with Caliente in that loop. How tight do you think that is compared to Caliente? You think it's about the same?
I got to be about the same. Yeah.
I mean,
they look about the same.
Gosh. I mean, that's really... my goodness. That's pulling heavy. One of my favorites. PS, smooth side. PS3, center flow.
Oh, here it goes. Right above. Train's going two different directions.
What's up with that? Do you see?
Yeah, it was Rock Island, it looks like.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, dupes.
There's the back end. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Hi.
Do you think that's Man Helper?
No. This is all, everything's DP. You know how
I beg your pardon.
Don't you notice how they're all like 2x1 or 3x1? Yeah, that's very common for this line. They need it to go up this hill, and they need it to go down Feather River.
I'd be intrigued to see if anybody ever modeled this. This would be a really cool model to do.
I'm sure somebody in Utah did it, or some WP group.
Some WP group in Utah, Utah. What is that? Is that an old Rock Island too?
Yeah, it has to be. That's the great color for it.
God, I love Rock Island. Somebody give this guy a hand job. He's doing great. Here, I mean, just how big. You know, I will say my ex-drummer, Luke, great dude, and he was from Connecticut, and so he's from the New Haven area, and I get it now that I've done touring and I visited that area so much. New Haven is everything out in New Jersey, New York, New Haven, Connecticut, the 13 colonies, it's a very smaller sky, and it's hard to describe.
13 colonies.
Well, no, but I mean, like any of that area
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
is like, if you really think about it, there's trees everywhere. You can't really see that far. And he was telling me, he was like, one of the things that I loved when I drove out to California was how big the sky gets.
Oh, yeah.
Once you pass St. Louis and you're on your way down into California, it's just the sky gets big. Trees aren't everywhere now. Now you can see everything. Look at how big the sky is. There ain't nothing blocking your view. The only thing blocking your view is a mountain. And once you get around to a certain area and you have the open pass, look at that. Look at how big that sky is. And it's hard to understand that until, like, when you grow up in an area where, like, San Diego, the sky's big. And then if you go east, the sky is still big. You're out in the desert, and you get out to Arizona, the sky is big. But I mean, to somebody,
huge here. Look
but
how
if
huge
you've
it is.
ever spent time in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, maybe not Rhode Island, but Connecticut and all that, but Vermont, New Hampshire, there's trees everywhere. So you can have a gas station right off the freeway and you wouldn't see it. The sky is straight up. But here, you can look ahead of yourself and the sky is big and out. And it's like one of those things where, yeah, man, the West.
These guys are hauling ass with this coal train.
Oh, man.
Way fat for
YOLO! Beep, 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 beep. YOLO! I feel like this could go, like, you could put an LMFAO song. And then, Party Rock is in the house tonight. And it's like,
Timmy and Evan will have a good time.
look at that, double on the back.
Whoa.
I really like that, though. A lot of GE power.
Right.
Where's all of our EMD shit? Remember
good
back
question.
in the 90s where, like, EMD and GE stuff really got relegated to different routes?
Oh, yeah.
Like, even on the BNSF Transcon, you'd have all the northern BNSF stuff.
That was still like that till about 2016.
Yeah, where you'd have all the SD70 Max to the north and all of the GE stuff to the south, and even like the ACEs or the ACEs, as people would say, with BNSF, they would still relegate them to the coal lines. And Santa Fe had a bunch of AC 4400s by that time too, or BNSF, sorry.
Right.
But they would even keep those on the Colorado lines. The AC 4400 would be, Raton Pass, or like some of the stuff up there on the northern routes. And then
a single intermediate signal going one way. Isn't that whack? Weird.
whack.
Yeah, just one
I
way.
think it's cool. I think it's very intriguing.
I know, but
I'd like to know why.
Yeah, why only one direction?
Some of this stuff, it's like,
You know what's
please
crazy?
explain.
All in the distance there, you can imagine if you go way in the distance, that's probably where like the Great Salt Lake is, like where SP is. That's one thing I noticed when I was driving from Wendover to Salt Lake City. I kept looking that direction and like thinking like that's the Great Salt Lake Basin is way over there, because the Salt Lake Basin is bigger than just the lake itself.
Yeah.
The whole area.
Oh, it's massive. That whole area is ridiculously like the forgotten part of the United States. Like all this, like one of the most amazing tours I was on. We went from St. George, Utah, up into Salt Lake. Provo was our next show, and then we went into Salt Lake, Ogden, that whole thing. But that drive from St. George up into Provo, that's 400 miles of just the center of that state is very beautiful. It was like kind of the early fall.
Right.
And so there was it was very green. There was a lot of moisture in the air. So everything was kind of breathing. Like, look at all this green right now. Even though you're out in the middle of nowhere, there's a lot of greenery. It's hard to really explain that. Everybody's like, oh, that looks yellow. It's like, no, like even the sagebrush and all the extra brush, like look at the valley behind you. There's a lot of green in that valley. And what?
Look at that, dude. That is crazy.
Look at how close the high line is to the low line.
And you can see the tracks.
I mean, they are close. Yeah. But I mean, even right up close in the camera view, I mean, that is a tight turnaround. It's like, hi, we're going to turn around, and now we're higher. It's like one of those things where you only see it on Tehachapi. Because if you do any East Coast stuff that's involved with that, you don't see it through the forest.
I'm glad we're watching this because I don't know if I've ever really watched a lot of Arnold Loop videos before.
What is that? What's the loop that's up there in?
At the river?
Yeah.
Williams Loop.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But that's actually a loop. Like
Yes.
like a-
Yes. It goes over itself. But I mean, this is just a nice little horseshoe that, man.
The view.
What's that mountain in the back
I don't
with
know,
the
but
snow?
views
Like,
blow
that's
you
what
away.
I mean. Oh, my God. Look at this lash up. 4 freaking units
There's your
chugging like a
EMDs.
beast.
There's your EMDs.
Yeah. What are those? Are those aces or just tilted 70s?
No, 70s.
Okay, flared radiator 70s with your American flair. Oh, okay. Got an ES44 on the front.
Yeah, looking bad. The 70s look in better condition.
ES44 AC on the front. Is that a DC on the back? No, that's ES44 AC's front and back, and then you got the 70M flares.
You know what's crazy? The
Very
Zephyr comes through here
intriguing.
both directions in the middle of the night.
You don't see any of this
You don't
shit.
see any of that shit.
Yeah.
No.
That's nuts.
You know when you would is if it was a full moon.
That's got to be crazy.
That would be insane.
I will say, man, I remember driving out of Amarillo, Texas, going up into Kansas and having that full moon and looking out on the prairie while my tour manager, I was up in the front seat, but my tour manager was driving, just looking out on that vast nothingness.
Yeah.
And when that full moon shines down, it's just like, wow. It's very ominous. And it's very humbling, too. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like when you just feel so small. That loop is so cool. I hope some club has modeled this, because that, even, I don't know.
We got slide fences.
Ear crashing.
He doesn't want eastbound because it's not full throttle.
Look at this guy cruise, bro. One of my favorite things when you're seeing just motive power cruise and just huffing and puffing is that. The distortion, the exhaust distortion, one of my favorite things. It's one of the only things you'll never get in model railroading.
Right.
Is the heat distortion from exhaust. And it's a really cool effect. And it's something that I think, like, even if you're doing, like, model railroading, that'd be something, and I feel in the future, like, with AI, if you could combine that and say, I want that exhaust effect over the top of the engine, but still have the model and have the AI do that.
Cool. That would be cool.
That would be a really cool replication. But other than that, you know, I love that one electrical line ball. Just see that one
But
ball.
look at the view, man.
Yeah, big sky. Once
Yeah.
again, big sky. Really cool. Man. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's about, we're going to let this one run by, but that's about all we got for this episode of Railroads Rock. Thank you for virtual railfanning with us. I love that. That seems like that same train.
Yeah.
Or maybe the same power, or they're just getting it at a different time, but now look, in the hindsight, that's that golden hour. Look, if you're ever going to shoot trains out on the real railroad, do it at golden hour. That is an hour before sunset and a half an hour afterwards. You'll get some of the best shots out there. When they shot the movie Top Gun, I've told you this story a million times. They actually, there's a scene in that movie where they actually turned the carrier. They paid to get the carrier. The director said, we're turning. How much is it going to cost us to turn the carrier back around to get this certain shot?
Right.
And the captain charged him X amount of money.
Really?
And he's like, I don't know if the government ever knew that the captain charged him that amount. But that's what we paid him to get him to turn the carrier around. And they did, to just get that beautiful golden hour shot. Anyways, having said that, everybody be cool. Take it easy. Go get some merch. That's how you can support this showcast, as we like to call it. Podcast, whatever you want to call it. But the Railroads Rock Show is liking, subscribing. TikTok, I guess, doesn't exist anymore. So right
back.
now, it's back?
Back.
All right. TikTok's back. So TikTok, Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at Railroads and Rock and Roll. You can follow Evan at
Michigan Subdivision.
and you can go over to TikTok, because I do post stuff from this show on Railroads Rock on TikTok. And it's just clips from the show and a couple other things that we do. Some of the B-roll that we shoot, like these wonderful trains that we have out on the diorama. What is that? What is that big blue thing?
It looks like a light rail car.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Probably heading up to Salt Lake. One of those,
Yeah.
the light rail thing. Okay.
The Stadler stuff.
Oh, man. So cool. We love trains. You probably love them, too, because that's why you're over here. And anyways, like I said, help us out, support it, keep it on moving, keep the train moving down the track. And other than that, just remember, the most important signal that you get.
It's going to be your next one.
Rock and roll. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.